time at 3Com Park in San Francisco. We get set for the start of the third quarter, 21-17. When we last chatted with you, Jim Mora had decided to have a little zebra for lunch, and that conversation continued for a while. And just as he was about to leave for the dressing room, one last word. And let's go down to our colleague Michelle Tapoya.
All right, Vern. Well, I spoke to Jim Mora as he came out of the locker room. Needless to say, extremely irate. He told me that the defensive holding call that negated that interception late in the second quarter, after that happened, one of the officials came up to him and actually said, and I'm quoting Jim Mora, if anything, that was offensive holding. Again, this is what Jim Mora claimed one of the officials said to him, and Mora added, we're getting blanked by the officials, and I'll let you two fill in the blank.
If you don't mind, discretion will rule up here in the booth, and we'll just let your imagination roam. What do you think?
Well, you just can't dwell on it. I didn't agree with the calls, but the Colts are in a wonderful position. They've got San Francisco, who is playing very arrogant and kind of wishy-washy most of the first half. The last thing you want to do is right now still be saying, well, they didn't give us the breaks. They're for the other guys. Don't do that. Jim Mora, I don't think, will let his team dwell on that. Come out and execute offensively on this drive, and it makes a lot of things better that you didn't think went right in the first half.
And the Colts will get the ball to open the third quarter. Lamont Warren is deep. Here's the kick by Ritchie, and it'll be Keith Elias who grabs it 5 yards, Dak. And the kickoffs have been lengthy for San Francisco. Now let's take a look at 3 of the controversial plays, Randy, in that first half. This is the holding call.
And I thought, like the official allegedly told Jim Mora, it could have gone either way on that holding call. Here's the one where they're calling the defender pushing out J.J. Stokes. Let's see, that's 2 out of 2 I don't agree with. That is not holding. That is not a real blatant overt act. And I think Jim Mora's got every reason to be upset, but he can't afford to let his team still be upset.
First down from the 20, the toss to Falk. He's got Craig Hayward in front as they head left, and Falk picks up a couple. Statistically in the first half, it broke down thusly. 21-17. Look at the 49er first downs. They have the edge in almost every category save penalties, but the time of possession overwhelming.
The big one is right there is those passing yards. 130 yards for Steve Young. He was being sacked and he wasn't getting much until they put a couple of those drives together. But the key really was what Garrison Hurst was able to do running the ball on the 49er side. It was a little bit more key than even what Marshall Falk's rushing was doing for the Colts. Hurst running set up the 49er passing game.
Falk stays in the sideline after that first down run, and Lamont Warren is, oh boy, they have to use a timeout.
Well, the first thing I'd do if I was Peyton Manning is look around my huddle and say, exactly why isn't Marshall Falk in this huddle with me?
See the first half possessions for the Colts. Marshall Falk had that 65-yard run to begin the day. Since then, 27 yards from the backfield. Backs are split on second down, and Manning again with good protection. Little floater across the middle. Lamont Warren makes the catch and gets enough for a first down as a 12-yard gain. Lee Woodall, number 54, makes the tackle.
You know, a guy we haven't mentioned much of right now, Bryant Young at the defensive tackle, working against Tony Mandarich, playing right guard for the Colts. Bryant Young, usually just a little Tasmanian devil, just throwing fits and going crazy, is being neutralized right now by Tony Mandarich, a guy that's been through a few trials and tribulations in his career as a former #1 pick.
First and 10, Indianapolis. Manning hands it off, the sweep to the right. Junior Bryant gets cut down as he tries to get to Falk, and Tim McDonald comes up to make the tackle. Marshall Falk, who's going back to San Diego next week. His jersey is being retired at San Diego State, and during the bye week he's going to go back down and be honored at his alma mater.
I thought too in the conversation yesterday, as you see, he's approaching 100 yards. How tight and how you know, sort of a sounding board he uses Tony Gwynn of the Padres playing in the World Series. How he goes to him with, you know, how do you handle the press? How do you handle success? Find that relationship to be pretty interesting.
Second and 8, Manning out of the shotgun. 4-man rush, and the 49ers do not get there. There's Marshall Falk at the 40-yard line. That's going to be 3-4 yards short of the first down. Well, this is an Indianapolis team that last year gave up 62 sacks. And so far, only 11 for Peyton Manning, and none today. None in the last 2.5 games now.
And what they're not asking the offensive line to do is block for an extended period of time. Most of the time, there's like 3 to 5 step drops. But Peyton Manning and his offense have to go down the field, have to continue to be aggressive and attacking, specifically Antonio Langham at the bottom of your screen.
That's where Harrison pitches his 10th. Third down. That pass incomplete. That was catchable. Jerome Pathan, the rookie from the University of Washington, dropped it. And the 49ers will get it back.
You got to wonder, at a catch like that, 2 things. 1, when exactly did he see it? And 2, was that falling backwards and kind of going towards the seat of his pants, just a rough position for him to get a proper handle on that ball.
Gardocki to punt for the Colts on 4th down. R.W. McQuarters, the rookie from Oklahoma State, grabs it at the 12. Good downfield coverage, but they miss him. There's another miss. There's a third miss, and it was tripping.
That was absolutely tripping. That's one they missed there. That was big time tripping.
Ken Dilger got an ankle out, and in the process, he got a piece of R.W. McQuarters. We are a few miles south of Lombard Street here in San Francisco, near the airport, 3Com Park, and the 49ers' Steve Young brings his team up. They trail by 4. Young hands it off to Garrison Hurst, goes right, stacked up after a gain of 1. Steve Young trying to become today the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to throw for more than 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in 6 consecutive games. Well, he's got a little work to do here in the second half. He's got 2 touchdowns, so he's 67% of the way there. But he has only 140 yards at the halftime.
He had an interesting reply. Brent Jones in the pregame asked him about that record. What does that mean to you? And Steve's reply was basically, well, I guess that means we had another good game. But outside of that, I don't know if it has any meaning.
Well, he's got a chance to get a few here, but he throws it closer to Ty Detmer than he did to J.J. Stokes. So that one is incomplete, and Young is now 17 of 28.
See, he's talking to J.J. Stokes, as Robert Blackman was the nearest athlete to that ball right there, because as he threw that, he expected J.J. Stokes to take the out, and he told him so as soon as he came back to the huddle. And Steve, having by his standard 17 of 28, 140 at this point, it's not bad, but it's not too high above a watermark on mediocre.
4 wide receivers set now. Rice, bottom of the screen. And Young gets good protection, but then the coverage, that's a coverage sack. Boy, he couldn't find anybody breaking free, and is sacked for the 5th time today.
Monty Montgomery, you're going to see it in the slot right here, and watch these 2 guys and the job that's done down the field. Look at that. Where are you going to go? You go there, nope, there, nope, there, nope, there. Can't see that guy. He's scrambling and trying not to get hit. Nice job.
And on 4th down, the Colts will get it back. Here's the punt from Roby.
Here we go.
Tyrone Poole grabs it at the 31 and comes right. And is down at the 39-yard line. A 54-yard punt and 8 on the return. And Mark Edwards, who bears more than a remarkable resemblance to his coach, Tom Rathman, makes the grab. Colts continue to lead by 4, 3rd quarter. 49er defense on the field. Marquez Pope is out there at right corner replacing Darnell Walker. Pope injured much of this year, healthy now, able to go, but they thought they'd only use him as a nickelback today.
But he's going to have to play, because not only is Walker hampered, McQuarters is also down.
So Pope on the field lays way back of the receiver, Marvin Harrison. 1st down and 10. Manning, right side, caught by Pathan, slips the tackle. It's a foot race. Here goes Jerome Pathan. No flags. Touchdown. Antonio Langham missed the tackle.
If you feel or see a weakness in personnel, take advantage of it. A big pad by Antonio Langham. Harrison's short route. just sloughs Langham off, and I'll tell you what, Pathan is not going to be caught. Harrison is not going to be caught. Any of these receivers with an opening are not going to be caught. Harrison out of Syracuse can flat fly when he gets open field.
'88 rather than '86. Harrison in for his third touchdown, and the Colts lead at 28-17.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car and by Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold Beechwood aged Budweiser.
R.W. McQuarters among the injured players, and Antonio Langham is in some agony on the bench after he missed the tackle, had trouble getting up, had to be assisted to the sideline. And Harrison's touchdown from 61 yards out, his third catch for a touchdown today. That's the second time in his career, 3 touchdowns. Here's Levy a yard back as McQuarters not back to return the kick, and Levy gets it out to the 21-yard line. Let's look again at Marvin Harrison's 61-yard grab.
It's all set up by a big pad by Langham in the defense, a quick route, and look at the slough right there by Harrison. Just throws Langham's arm off, and now it's just see you later, bye. You're just not going to have any chance of stopping that receiver. But get used to what you're looking at here, folks. You're going to see this for the rest of this game out of the Colts and their receivers and their quarterback. The Niners are hurt in the defensive backfield, and the Colts are going to try to make them pay.
First down from the 21, play fake. Young will hang on to it and run out of bounds after a 4-yard pickup to the 24.5-yard line. Bernard Whittington makes the stop. Marvin Harrison, 3 touchdown catches.
And you know what Marvin Harrison sitting on the sideline has to really like is the job he's seen out of the defense for the Indianapolis Colts. In the day he's having 5 of 93 for 3 touchdowns, but he's watching the receivers on the other side being physically challenged, being covered down the field, making Steve Young scramble and run out of bounds. Jim Mora and Rusty Tillman, his defensive coordinator, have done a nice job game planning and getting this defense ready.
Second down. Young pumps, fires for his tight end Irv Smith. That's good enough for a first down after the 35. Well, the last time the Colts won here, they were playing in Baltimore. The head coach was a guy named Shula. The quarterback was a guy named Morrill. Matty, John Mackey, and look who was playing for the 49ers. Howard Mudd.
Howard Mudd, now the offensive line coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest football players I was ever associated with. A cornerback, went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Just a class act.
Here's Young, got a man open. Terrell Owens got free. Jason Belzer banged him out of bounds, but it's a gain of 18.
Up to this point, the Colt defense has been able to be aggressive and knock off the timing. You saw right in there, Burris did not stop Terrell Owens as he got off the line of scrimmage, and that was just pure timing. Steve Young hits the 5th step, ball's coming out, receivers turning, textbook completion.
Owens now with 4 grabs for 49 yards and a touchdown. Back split on 1st and 10.
Little confusion.
Yep. Now change. Clock winding down, and here's Young. No place to go. So he throws it away in the face of increasing pressure.
Well, they're going to have to call Steve Young lumpy after this game for the beating and the hits that this Colts defense is putting on him. Giving them a look they don't expect. A little confusion in formation. Steve Young's got an audible. Steve Young doesn't have a receiver. And the Colts defense put another couple of hits on him. Steve Mariucci does not want to see Steve Young hold that ball that long. He knows his quarterback is going to get hit. The secret to this offense, get it out quick.
2nd and 10. Play fake. Young comes left to Smith. He was open, and it's overthrown. And a flag is thrown from 25 yards downfield.
And almost 25 seconds late. That flag was not thrown until the offensive player complained.
Holding Colts.
Holding. Defense number 57, 5 yards, automatic first down.
That is Burt Berry.
Now inside, they're taking a zone blitz approach, but right what happens here, watch here, and watch how the defenders drop and get into different areas. You've got blitzes inside, you've got a defensive lineman suddenly playing linebacker, and that's actually a perfect call by the official. The flag came way too late for credibility's sake, but the call was good.
1st and 10 after the 5-yard penalty. Chad Fan, number 86, in motion. And off to Hurst. They try and sweep right. Good pursuit defensively and a fumble. A scramble for the ball, and the Colts have recovered.
Another flag down. Kevin Gogan is going to be flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for going after one of the Colts defenders on the sideline. This is adding insult to stupidity for the 49ers. For a team and an organization that's supposed to have so much poise and so much class and not be undisciplined, the key errors in this game have been from being very undisciplined. Not a good move by Kevin Gogan, and Steve Mariucci has to let his big guard know exactly what about it.
So after the turnover,
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the offensive team after the interception and after the play is over. 15 yards and a first down for Indianapolis.
Garrison Hurst just has his ball knocked out. Watch what happens right here. He tries to spin away. When he spins away, he spins right into Jeff Burris. The cornerback comes in and around and knocks the ball out. And it's recovered right there by the Indianapolis Colts, and getting a good job on that ball and recovering it for the Colts was Kendall Shello, number 97.
and so with 8:32 to go, 3rd quarter, Colts at the 42. Manning crossing route. Here comes the tight end, Ken Dilger, who was split way wide right.
Jim Mora's staff right now knows he's got a weakness. Knows the Niners are down on defensive backs. They're going to start splitting people. They're going to start changing formation. There is the tight end, Ken Dilger, matching up against R.W. McWhorters, who's been slowed by a little bit of a ding and an injury. There's no way in the world a tight end should be able to do that to a cornerback.
1st and 10, Indianapolis. Hand off Marshall Faulk. He's buried.
Defensive backs aren't real healthy, but there's nothing wrong with Lee Woodall. Comes completely unblocked from that side of the defense. Marshall Faulk's going to go back and have a little bit of a discussion with his guys up front.
Lance Schulters comes in defensively.
Peyton Manning is very steady. He's played steady and he's played smart. He's playing right now like a veteran on the road as an underdog.
Manning back. Lamont Warren makes the grab, and that's a gain to the 21-yard line. Tim McDonald and Lee Woodall collaborate for it. Well, Peyton Manning with 14 interceptions this season, but today, zip and 3 touchdowns.
Jeff George and Johnny Unitas, the other 2 Colt quarterbacks he shares that record with, and a day like this just tells you why this young man was drafted #1, because of that maturity by Bill Polian in this organization, and why Ryan Leaf from his act went #2 to San Diego.
34. Stunts defensively by the 49ers. They go in the corner for Torrance Small, and he can't quite hang on. And that will bring up 4th down.
Well, that's one thing about watching this young quarterback. If there's a pass or a situation you haven't seen him in yet, or you haven't seen him make a certain pass, stick around. Here is a perfectly touched arc ball over Merton Hanks, the safety, into his receiver, Torrance Small, just a little bit too long.
Excuse me, Randy. Mike Vanderjagt, 14 of 15 this season. Made his first 8, missed 1 from 40, has made his last 6. This one is perfect. So the 28-year-old rookie who spent his last 2 seasons in Toronto, where his team won the Canadian Football League Grey Cup, helps extend the Colt lead to 14.
Back in San Francisco, Colts lead 31-17, and the Niners are without Antonio Langham now. The medical staff had been tending to his left ankle. It is sprained. They thought he might be able to return, but as you see, he's on crutches, wrapped up. He's in pain, and he's done, guys.
All right, Michelle, Chuck Levy is one of 2 men deep, and he takes the Gardocki kickoff at the 4-yard line. Here is Levy cut down as he gets to the 23. Nice open field tackle by Keith Elias, number 23. Now coming up Monday night on CBS, here's the lineup. We'll begin with the Cosby Show, then the King of Queens, followed by the hit Everybody Loves Raymond and L.A. Doctors. That's your Monday night lineup on CBS. 21-0 Indianapolis. They jumped out to that lead. Then Young and the 49ers fought back. It was 21-17 at the half. But Manning and the Colts have extended the lead back to 14 points now, midway through the 3rd quarter.
He's off. We're going this way. Go,
Chad Fan, number 86, in motion. Here's Young. Comes into the left side, and the catch made at the 34-yard line. A gain of 12. J.J. Stokes made the grab.
Here's a drive for the 49ers. From their standpoint, you've got to take a deep breath and just go about your business. Steve Mariucci's offense was hit with a bad penalty after that last turnover. Basically set Peyton Manning's group up for that last field goal. The offense now has to just be methodical and execute. Keep the score and the situation out of your brain. Just be methodical and execute.
Backs are split. 1st down and 10. Right side, Garrison Hurst slips a tackle, dances up the sideline and out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
And really part of that whole just be quiet, execute is that last mistake that Kevin Gogan made, going after somebody from the Indianapolis Colts defense. At the beginning of this drive, he's sort of pointing fingers and yapping over there across the line, and you just can't have that at this point. This situation is not desperate for the San Francisco 49ers at 31-17 with this kind of an offense. Continued stupid play and bad mistakes will make this a very desperate situation.
2nd and 7. Young, good protection, finds Hurst, who is wrapped up by Anthony Jordan. Getting his first start today, the rookie from Vanderbilt, a 5th-round pick. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Check this out, Vern. Just talking about Gogan and who will they take it out on. Watch big Kevin Gogan, 66, the right guard. Give his center, Chris Dahlman, a little help. Hi-ya. That takes care of one nose guard. The play didn't gain much, but I think Mr. Gogan made his point. And that's the proper way to make your point if you're Kevin Gogan. Just the wee little fella from Washington.
Yes, indeed. 3rd and 7. Starts by the Colt defense. Good protection. Young. Nobody open, so he'll scramble. He's got the 1st down, and he slides down at the 46-yard line. A pickup of 16. Burt Berry finally got up to him.
But what Steve Young sees is as this play unfolds, watch this whole part of the field not have Indianapolis Colts in it. He's getting wonderful protection. You've got man coverage dropping off, and look at that. Look at this. All that football field, and that's why he did what he did. Great read by Steve Young, taking advantage of the defense that was being well executed by the Colts.
4 wide receivers set on 1st down. Draw play. Chuck Levy cut down by Tim Hawk as he gets to the 46-yard line. Tim Hawk graduated from the high school with the greatest name, I think, in the NFL. Sweetgrass County High School in Big Timber, Montana. Just sounds nice. And here he is still playing. 2nd down.
Saturday night, too nice of a place to have a football program.
It's not a large one.
But in the winter in Montana, it's not that nice.
Not a large one. 2nd and 9. Oh, nice pattern. Terrell Owens, fumble! Holy cow, Jason Belzer has it for the Colts. 2nd fumble lost in the last 2 possessions.
And Jim Moore has just watched Terrell Owens and the 49ers make another one of those stupid mistakes. They were being efficient. Steve Mariucci's offense was being patient. They had taken advantage of a defense with a long scramble. They got a completion with a nice throw there. Monty Montgomery, 34, comes in, strips Terrell Owens. We just got another spike on the dumb-o-meter.
Things getting loaded.
Yeah, it's being used way too often by the 49ers for Mariucci's sake.
Second fumble lost in this half. Terrell Owens on the sidelines as the Colts regain the football, and they have a 14-point lead. 3:25 to go, third quarter. Manning hands it off to Falk. Finds a couple at right guard after the 25.
And you also see Indianapolis, after another turnover with a 14-point lead and 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, come out in an I formation with a lead back, Hayward in the fullback position, saying, well, maybe now is the time to try to establish this running game and get things going. Let Marshall Faulk control this game.
Second down and 8. 31-17. If you have not been with us, we'll tell you the Colts jumped out to a 21-0 lead. It was 21-17 at the half. They're up by 14 now. Manning, nice pass out of the backfield to Marshall Faulk out to the 36-yard line. That will be enough to move the chain again. Next Saturday, CBS Sports revs up a special encore presentation of NASCAR's primetime pride and joy, the Pepsi 400. Stock Car Racing's hottest wheels battling under the lights at the World Center of Speed Daytona International Speedway. And then on NASDAQ College Football, Alabama takes on T. Martin and the undefeated Tennessee Vols. Or in the Big East, the Miami Hurricanes take on West Virginia. Check the local listings for the game in your area. First and 10, Indianapolis, with 2:05 to go in the quarter. Manning, deep left side, overthrows Harrison, who was being covered by McQuarters and Marquez Pope. So Langham on the sideline, Darnell Walker on the sideline, and Peyton Manning said he thought they could go at the corners anyway.
Well, yeah, and Marquez Pope, a guy that, you know, I think the 49ers wanted to get maybe a dozen plays out of today, maybe 15 plays. Suddenly now is going to look at playing about a quarter and a half at the end of this ball game against Peyton Manning and a Colt team that is going to be firing the thing down the field.
Second and 10. Falk left. Falk cuts it up to the 45-yard line. That appears to be just short of a first down. R.W. McQuarters made the tackle.
Yeah, one thing I'm very impressed with right now from Jim Mora's offense is the fact that against a defense like San Francisco, Mora's offense has to know that, look, we get a lot of blitzes, but so many of these blitzes we're going to see are specifically to keep Falk from being able to run the ball. He's got 102 yards. He's got a touchdown on only 11 carries, and they're guessing right and dealing with the blitz when they get it.
Third and 1. Double tight end set. They hand it off in the middle. And from the spot, you'd think that might be a fresh set of downs.
Well, Bryant Young just flew through the line of scrimmage from the left defensive tackle position. But by blowing out of there, his body left the soft spot that the back was able to go in, I think, to get this first down. Watch Bryant Young come through and watch where exactly he and Mandarich leave. The back comes right in there. Mandarich got away with a hold, though, because he had his arms around his waist. That was an offensive holding against Bryant Young, who I don't know if he is quick or just has an incredible amount of fast twitch muscle fiber. I mean, he gets off the ball. He's right up there with John Randall when he's inside a defensive tackle, as far as I'm concerned.
And that is enough for a first down. Bryant Young notwithstanding.
Yeah.
First and 10.
But you pay for that quickness sometimes.
Yep.
If you're that quick and you get held and it's not called, you leave a hole that the offense is able to take advantage of and get a first down through.
First and 10, Colts at their own 46. Final minute, third quarter. They've outscored the 49ers 10-zip in this quarter. Manning, quick setup. Out into the flat right. Marvin Harrison, who has 3 touchdowns today, has another reception across the 50 and into 49er territory.
You know, Peyton Manning had a good look here from the 49er defense. Pretend you're a quarterback and you want to do something conservative. You're going to throw it here with the press, or you're going to throw it here with the gap. Peyton Manning takes the easy reception. Why go to the trouble up high when you get that much pad, that much room for your receiver? That's a gimme completion on first down. Good decision making.
Harrison and Falk, 237 yards. That follows the agenda for the season. Here's Falk caught behind the line. Jeff Posey, number 96, in at defensive end, made the tackle. Posey, a first-year man from Southern Mississippi. And that should be the final play of a surprising ball game. The Colts behind Peyton Manning, Marshall Falk, and Marvin Harrison jumped out to a 21-0 lead. They were up 21-17 at the half, and after 3 they lead at 31-17. We'll return to 3Com Park right after this message and a word from your local station. Midfield out of the shotgun, 3rd and 6. Colts with a 14-point lead as we start the 4th quarter. Blitz coming. Manning goes left. Torrance Small hit by R.W. McQuarters and tackled short of the first down. So Indianapolis will have to punt.
Nice job by John Marshall, the defensive coordinator of the 49ers, giving this young quarterback. He's showing blitz here, and the free man's going to be Dolman at defensive end. The offensive line has to seal down, blocking inside out. That frees Dolman. And Peyton Manning's got nowhere to go. He's trying to throw over Dolman at covered receivers.
4th punt of the afternoon for Gardocki, and R.W. McQuarters is at the 10-yard line. Nice and high. McQuarters will let it go, and it takes an Indianapolis roll. That will be down inside the 10 at the 7 or 8 yard line. See where they spot it finally. Make it the 9 where it was first touched.
Well, I really could not tell you exactly what Posey, 96, is doing falling on that ball. The Colts touched it. You don't have to risk making another dumb mistake.
Just over 14 minutes remaining, 31-17. A lot of time remaining, but I'm really struck by how the Colts have held their poise.
An awful lot of poise. You know, for a team that's been getting blown out and abused in the 2nd and 3rd quarters of games, they had every opportunity when they got those bad penalties called against them at the end of the first half and the 2nd quarter there to fold and do something dumb. They've played great in the 2nd and 3rd quarter, and that's why they're ahead right now.
Here's Young on first down. Again, good coverage, but he does find a receiver open at the 20-yard line. Jerry Rice makes the grab, and that should be enough to move the chains again. That's a gain of 12.
Well, now you have good pass protection, and you give Steve Young the chance to sit back there and bounce a couple of times. He's going to find the open wide receiver. You see Jerry Rice in that zone defense got behind a linebacker, felt I don't belong behind this linebacker, and slid back over where Steve Young could get him the ball.
First down at the 20. They fake the draw. They go deep right side. Darrell Owens had gotten behind Burris and could not hang on to it.
Something we haven't seen from the 49ers much today is the long play, going for the big play. Burris does not get a chance to get a hand on Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is running by him. Yes, if you're wondering, there is tripping, there is contact, but you notice the defender was also looking back for the ball. That's what they refer to as incidental.
2nd and 10, back split. And Young with another play fake. Goes deep left side, man coverage, and a good job downfield by Robert Blackman this time, and Tyrone Poole.
Tyrone Poole makes that play, though, Vern. You know, he's only covering a pretty average receiver in, it's Jerry Rice. Maybe a little bit better than pretty average, you might say. Watch the job he does. He got physical. He stayed with him. Steve Young lays it in perfectly. He knocks it away to give Blackman the chance at it. I tell you, this young cornerback, Tyrone Poole, knows how to play these receivers. Remember, he had experience against San Francisco receivers when he was with Carolina and Dom Capers' aggressive defense.
He was part of the last team to win a game here against the 49ers, Carolina in '96. Here's Young across the middle. J.J. Stokes wide open. And then Hawk makes the tackle, but a gain of 22.
Now the key for San Francisco on offense right now is what I talked about earlier. You're going to make these plays, be methodical, and be efficient. This is a nice move against a soft coverage. It is methodical good game. Keep methodical and consistent and drop the dunk.
Stokes now has caught 7 for 76 yards. Young back again, across out of the backfield, and Edwards bobbles it and drops it.
And that just kills a guy like Mark Edwards, too, that he doesn't get that many opportunities, or as many opportunities as the fullback position used to be getting out of the backfield when his running back coach, Tom Rathman, was as a fullback in this offense. But this second-year guy at Notre Dame at that size, 6 foot and about 230 pounds, can do it all. I saw him a lot in college, and this young man has got very, very good hands, and that was obviously not a good example of it.
2nd and 10. That's Chad Fan in motion. Blitz coming this time. Colts are bringing 5. The pass complete on the right side in front of Burris. It's J.J. Stokes again. And that's a 15-yard gain, and the 49ers move the chain.
Well, the Niners and Steve Young have figured out that 5'8" Poole is maybe not the way to go. He's playing tough and aggressive, and if they're going to get a little pad there from Jeff Burris, the former Buffalo Bill, they'll just run their big receiver Stokes straight into his face and take that easy gimme.
12:24 to go in regulation. And the 49ers, down by 14, have moved from their own 10 to the 44. Young down the middle. Irv Smith, the tight end. First down at the 19. Blackman makes the tackle, but the gain equals his number. It's 25.
The biggest difference in what we saw the last drive is when San Francisco got in this position, they made a mistake. Here they stay methodical, they stay efficient. They get a completion over the middle of the football field in a zone defense to their tight end, Irv Smith.
1st and 10. Triple wide receivers. That's Jerry Rice quickly off the line in the slot. They come to Hurst right side, and he slips and is down. Tackle made by Radcliffe Thomas, number 51. And it'll be 2nd down, a loss in the play. Well, doubleheader for you next week on CBS. In the early game, some will see Baltimore and Green Bay. Others will watch New England and Miami. Randy and I will be down in Florida. And in the 2nd game of the Twin Bill, most of you will watch Jacksonville against the defending world champion Denver Broncos.
Hey, the Denver Broncos do a great job in this part of the football field, and Mike Shanahan got a lot of that from San Francisco with formation or motion causing mismatches.
4 wide receiver set. They go across the middle to Hurst, one-on-one. He is at the 10 and is down inside the 10 with another first down. 1st and goal after a 15-yard gain.
Well, you want to talk about a mismatch. Get 4 wide receivers who run the defensive backs off. That leaves a matchup with your running back and Radcliffe Thomas there, number 51. That's a mismatch in an open field situation, and that's created by proper usage of your formations. Steve Mariucci loves to do it. Mike Shanahan loves to do it. Denver finishes a lot of these off, and Steve Young and this offense doing pretty well. Need to also.
He's closing in on 300 yards, and he's trying to get his 3rd touchdown. Toss of the day.
That's an audible.
Here's Young. Incomplete. Flag thrown on Burris at the 1.
You saw Steve Young make that clapping motion to his wide receivers.
Pass interference, number 20 of the defense. Automatic first down.
And Steve Young looks out there, sees the defense he's getting, does that clapping motion as a message to his wide receivers to cut off the pattern and change the play.
And 1st and goal now. The 49ers will load it up. Rice is out.
Watch Steve Young, little clap left. Now that just, he's not trying to tell him he's doing a good job. It's a little early for that.
Play fake. Young will stroll in. Does it remind you of how Doug Flutie and the Bills beat Jacksonville today? Well, Steve Young, who can run with the best ever at quarterback, with a nice play fake and a touchdown on the ground himself.
There's so much more to playing the quarterback position than just being big and tall and having a good arm. I said at the very beginning of this game that I thought Steve Young was running this offense as well as it's ever been run. A lot of it is that factor. That factor is back in this offense. Steve Young is a runner.
Bobbled snap, and Ty Detmer is buried, and that leaves the deficit at 8. My, oh my.
The dumb meter just got stuck on wide open. A new way to be dumb.
.9:58 to go, regulation play. Steve Young gets a rest now, but his team's still down by 8 after the bad snap and the failed extra point attempt. This is Lamont Warren, who decides to bring it out and crosses the 20. Popped as he gets to the 23. Randy Kirk is the snapper. Randy Cross.
It's funny, I talked to him before the game about the plight of being a long snapper, how nobody knows what you're doing unless you mess up, and Randy, you just blew your cover. Rolls it back into the hands of the holder, Ty Detmer. And this is just one of the little things. When you play a bad game, as San Francisco did 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, they made these dumb mistakes, and Randy Kirk on the long snap there, actually you should call that a short snap, rolling it back, makes this an 8-point game, which is a 2-score situation.
First down and 10, Colts leading by 8. Play fake, Manning comes deep left side, his receiver slips and falls. That was Jerome Pathan, number 86. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Vern, Peyton Manning told me coming into this game that the Colts had the proper respect for the 49ers, but he didn't want his team to get caught up in that San Francisco mystique. He said, after all, the Colts want to have that mystique themselves someday. And he told me, quote, I just know we're going to get it done in Indianapolis. Vern?
Well, he is a remarkably poised young 22-year-old. Of course, his dad, Archie, played so well for so long in the NFL. Brother Cooper lives down in New Orleans, and his brother Eli is a fine young high school quarterback. Here's the handoff, and there's Bryant Young. Haven't called his name much today, but at a critical juncture in this ball game, there he is.
And that was another one of those deals where he just blasted through the line of scrimmage. Bryant Young right there, working against the right guard, Tony Mandris. He comes inside and is never even touched. An all-pro, you don't block him, that should be your result. You know, one thing that surprises me, though, you look at Peyton Manning's number as far as number of times thrown, 27 passes. Steve Young, 44 passes.
Out of the shotgun motion, Tariq Glenn, who is treating this week as a homecoming. Young man who played high school ball in Oakland, then played at the University of California.
False start, 78, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
And, you know, coming into the game, you just said, who's going to throw the ball more? If you have a chance to win, who's it going to be? And you say, well, Steve Young should throw the ball about 25 to 30 times, and Peyton Manning might throw 50. Well, the shoe's on the other foot, because Young's the one with 44, Peyton Manning's the one with 27. But neither one of them really has had a bigger one than this one right now.
3rd and 20. Fourth and 24. Junior Bryant gets the sack. There's a scramble. Did the ball come loose? Apparently not.
You know, it's funny to say that on a sack, a quarterback has just made a nice play. But there's nowhere for Peyton Manning to go down the field. The smart thing to do in that situation is take your lumps and take the sack and get what you can. That was a good job. Now it turns over to Gardocki in this situation to hang one up there for coverage. Because you're looking at R.W. McQuarters. You mentioned earlier, already got one called back by a penalty, but he can take it the distance.
Gardocki at the goal line. McQuarters waits at his own 41. Here comes McQuarters, and he makes the grab at the 43, heading left. Nice tackle defensively, and look who's down there. Among others, number 33, Craig Ironhead Hayward. 49ers get the ball back after a 4-yard return. They're down by 8. Simply spectacular day in the Bay Area. We are at 3Com Park, and we've got a game equal to the weather. 31-23, 49ers trail at home. They've got the ball at their own 42. 4 wide receivers in. Quick flip. And Young finds Terrell Owens for the gain to the 46. Coming up tonight on CBS, we'll begin with 60 Minutes, followed by Touched by an Angel, and then the CBS Sunday movie Emma's Wish, starring Joanna Kearns. That's all tonight on CBS. Second down and 3. Steve Mariucci, who is more than just a little concerned right now. Second down and 3. His ball club trailing 31-23. Young back. There's holding on Jamie Brown, and this one's going to come back. Jamie Brown, badly beaten on the play, had no choice.
That's a hog tie, choke hold, grab him by the back and yank him. Hold by Jamie Brown. This is an offensive line. It's got the big guys and the meats in the middle and the athletes on the outside. And an athlete of the level they want doesn't
Holding.
do that.
72 the offense. 10 yards. Repeat second down.
Jamie Brown, once again, brought here with a number 2 trade with the Denver Broncos. Mike Shanahan, the former Niner coach, made this trade with the 49ers, and Jamie Brown right there is just beaten extremely quickly by that game. Ellis Johnson, the defensive tackle, 62, got into his side, and all he could do to protect his quarterback is to grab the defensive tackle.
Second down and 14. Rice, bottom of the screen, right side. Young goes left. He's got Stokes open, and Stokes makes the grab over Tyrone Poole. A 21-yard gain, move the chain. And Steve Young is getting close to the 300-yard day.
Well, that's the kind of catch right there that is made by a receiver that is very used to dealing with a Steve Young pass. You don't need me to tell you about it. Watch this thing of beauty.
And for the 6th consecutive game, Steve Young has thrown for more than 300 yards. 306 at this point. Slips the ball. No, he's in trouble. Still has it. Finds an open receiver. The catch made. Levy to the 22. A gain of 13.
There's dimensions to this offense that have only been in vogue for the last half dozen or so years since this guy's been playing quarterback in this offense. 99% of the quarterbacks in the league go down there. The majority of the quarterbacks in this league maybe think about running. Steve Young always thinking about the pass.
6 straight over 300, 1st and 10. Hurst and Levy in the backfield, and a 3-wide receiver set now with 2 to the right.
The other half of that graphic, he's had 3 touchdowns 5 games in a row.
Down the middle for Jerry Rice, and Blackman was there defensively. Contact, but ruled incidental.
Well, Steve Mariucci's got to be happy right now the way this offense has responded. You know, Vern, last week we saw Denver playing Seattle and not being on their A game, but finding a way to make something happen to win a game. That's what Steve Mariucci is looking at right now with his offense. Have they been clicking totally? No, not really. Has the team been smart and been what he wants, very disciplined? Absolutely not. But here's a situation, a winning team and a winning organization for this long seems to always find a way to pull it out.
And they've got a 2nd down and 10, staring at an 8-point margin right now. Not much of a rush. Young, good coverage, so Young will run. He's got the whole field. Here's Steve Young, battling, touchdown! They will, of course, go for 2. They are 2 of 3 on 2-point conversions this season. They need 2 to tie.
That dimension to the game that Steve Young adds. Terrell Owens down the field here is open. Steve doesn't see him and unleashes another of the classic Steve Young want-to runs, because he wants to score a lot more than the Colts defense wants to stop him.
Try for 2 is coming up, but first a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fram Filters and by Pizza Hut, home of the Sicilian pizza, back with a blast.
'49ers called the timeout, so they've got 2 remaining. Those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, It will be along in its entirety except at its regular time, except on the West Coast and the Mountain Time Zone. Now Owens and Rice go to the left. J.J. Stokes comes right. Hurst, the running back, the try for two. They're 2 of 3 this season. Here's the toss into the flat. They got it. Steve Young and Jerry Rice, and we're tied at 31.
That's textbook Jerry Rice reception right there. In towards the goal line. Jim Mora has seen this receiver do this for a long time. First at New Orleans. Here's Jerry Rice. This is cleared out. He goes underneath. Repetitive, but effective. Trying to ask the linebacker or a safety to come from that deep to cover Jerry Rice. Ain't gonna happen. Quick move on Monty Montgomery. He's immediately dumped and left for Blackman. And Rice and Young have made a living for a lot of years on that kind of coverage.
Trailing 21-0 with 4 minutes gone in the second quarter. The 49ers have now come back to tie it at 31. They were down 21-17 at the half. Indianapolis extended the lead to 31-17 at the end of 3, and now we're notched at 31. Young has run for 2 and thrown for 2, and again today for the 6th time in a row he has thrown for more than 300 yards.
Well, he's getting himself a little food. He's getting himself a little water. Don't fool yourself. That was a physically draining drive and very demanding on him and his body on that one.
Lamont Warren and Keith Elias are back for the Colts. Elias at the 4. A flag is down, and so is Elias.
Flag down on each side of the 30-yard line. With that kind of a agreement by our officials. A little offsides, the kickoff.
And Jim Mora. Here's Walt Coleman.
Offsides. Number 30 of the kicking team. 5 yards and re-kick.
Well, the number of penalties has been diminished today for the 49ers. That's only their 6th. But
a lot of quality out of those 6, though.
There has been.
Low quantity, high quality. The kind that drives Steve Mariucci nuts. He doesn't want to hear undisciplined, but at times they have looked undisciplined.
This is an organization I think most of you around the country realize is in danger of becoming rudderless in the front office. There has been all kind of noise and commotion made, most recently this week, about Dwight Clark. Will he or will he not go back east to Cleveland, and when will he do it if?
Well, and they've talked to Steve Mariucci about a contract extension, trying to stabilize things around here. But the bottom line is the best thing that ever happened to this organization and this football team was Eddie DeBartolo buying the team back in 1977. He will be back early next year as the owner, and the healing of the front office starts then. But until then, it's going to be ugly.
Now Carmen Policy has already gone back, where he is heading the Cleveland franchise that will join the league next year. And here's Elias, this time from the 9 out to the 20, and he scoots out across the 20 to the 27-yard line. Darnell Walker makes the tackle.
As a former player in this offense, sometimes it just seems like stealing, and it's really not fair. And that's so easy. It really isn't fair.
And that tied it at 31. And now the young Indianapolis Colts, who had a 21-0 lead, have a first down at their own 26. Peyton Manning. Under his center, Jay Lewinberg, one running back who gets the handoff. It's Marshall Faulk, and he runs in to Ken Norton Jr. And let's revisit the Steve Young touchdown.
Well, I was involved in a playoff game with Steve Young against the Minnesota Vikings, where he ran a seemingly it's like forever, like 80-yard run or 65-yard run. That was beautiful. The timing on this, the effort on this, got to rank this one right up there, because he should have been down a couple of times.
2nd and 9. That's Pathan who starts in motion. There is a mix-up and flags fly. I think everybody had the snap count except Jay Lewinberg.
Prior to the snap, false start, 18 on the offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, pick on the center, Vern. I tell you, as a guy who used to hold that ball, there's a lot of people can be wrong here. But if Jay Lewinberg in moving that ball, a lot of guys can be early, a lot of guys can be late.
Now wait a minute.
But he's not wrong.
You're telling me, you know, because he's got the ball.
They didn't call it on, they called it on the quarterback.
You're telling me 10 out of 11 move, and here's the one guy who stood like a rock. Second down. Manning steps up, comes into the flat. Lamont Warren trying to make his cut. And he's claiming that Ken Norton impeded his progress.
This defense is impeding this offense with a little bit of help from the crowd. They're having a little trouble with their communication. And right now the execution for Peyton Manning in this offense is just a little off. Remember, last year this was the NFL's #1 defense. 2 weeks ago they were ranked 30th. Last week, they shut out New Orleans. They moved up to 23rd. Right now, this defense is playing like a flashback to last year.
Here comes the blitz. 3rd and 14. Manning deep left side. Caught it! He's got the first down in the hands of a fellow rookie, Jerome Pathan. That's a 19-yard gain on 3rd and 14.
You know, those of us that aren't any longer like on a day-to-day basis playing this game, read about the contracts and the money's given to people and say, well, how could you possibly be worth that? See this pass in this situation and this kind of pressure to that small a window? That's why Peyton Manning went #1. That's why Peyton Manning makes that kind of money.
1st and 10 at the 41. 4:10 to go in regulation. Marshall Faulk tries to find room at right side, and he gets maybe 2. Tim McDonald with the tackle.
Well, there's now under 4 minutes left in this football game, and John Marshall, the defensive coordinator of the Niners, is going to do a lot of things here. But one of the things he isn't going to do is let Tim McDonald and his 49er defense be beaten by the running game of the Colts. If they have a problem here, and there's John Marshall right there, if this Colt team beats this defense, it's going to have to be Peyton Manning doing it with his arm.
2nd and 9. Here's the blitz again. Manning back, steps up, hangs on. Oh boy, he almost lost it. Roy Barker, number 92, made the initial contact.
Peyton Manning flips this ball, has it knocked out of his hands, but somehow it exits his possession and ends up in the hands of Marshall Faulk. What's the end? Chris Dolman doing a nice job getting pressure. Backside Barker from the other side. He's trying to hand it to Marshall Faulk. Now, folks, I just praised the guy about a great pass, and he goes and acts like a rookie. You don't do this. You eat it, you go down, but you don't possibly have a turnover in that situation.
3rd and 11. Here comes the blitz again. Manning looks left again. Finds Pathan again for a first down. At the 44-yard line, that's the second 3rd and long conversion, this time for 16.
Well, Peyton Manning and the Colts offense is being told, if you're going to beat us and you're going to move the ball and you're going to eat up clock, you're going to have to do it with your passing game. We're stuffing your run. Peyton Manning now has thrown 2 critical bullets back to back. There's now right at 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this ball game.
Indianapolis has 2 timeouts remaining, so do the 49ers. Manning, 18 of 30. Hand off to Faulk, cuts it left. Now back upfield, a nice move across the 40 to the 36-yard line. And Marquez Pope makes the tackle. Don't forget 60 Minutes coming along in its entirety, except on the West Coast and the Rocky Mountain time zone. We've hit the 2-minute warning. We're notched at 31 in San Francisco. Already this season, Mike Vanderjagt, the 28-year-old rookie, has kicked 3 field goals in excess of 50 yards. 51 twice and 52. He's 15 of 16 for the year. His only miss was from 40. He hopes he gets a shot.
He's got plenty of leg, even from this distance at 53 or 54, will it be.
They slip the ball to Hayward. Whoa!
What a nice play by Ken Norton Jr. in the linebacker spot on the backside, 51. He has no business on a short yardage play being that deep in the backfield. Good anticipation. Nice job right here by Ken Norton Jr. He times his blitz almost perfectly. Tarek Glenn, 78, the left tackle, doesn't adjust fast enough. And Norton snuffs the Colt running back. 3rd and short.
Officially, they'll call it 2. Mayton barking out instructions to his teammates. Tie game. Blitz coming again. Marshall Faulk goes right. Does not get the first down. Mariucci jumping up and down as if on a trampoline on the sideline. 1:11 to go. I think he wanted his team to call a timeout. And they do.
You've just got to go ahead and kick a field goal here. Forget the length. Because this 49er defense tried to tell you earlier, if you're going to get it on us, you're going to get it through the air. You're not going to get it on the ground, and they proved their point.
Check out CBS Sportsline NFL Archives, where you get all of the top stories, photos, and stats, plus top performers and quotes from every week of the season at cbs.sportsline.com. Bradford Banta will snap it back. And 28-year-old Mike Vanderjagt will try and give Indianapolis another lead. 60 minutes will follow.
Here's a guy that's been part of a couple of Grey Cup championship teams up in Canada. Came down and just took this job by storm because of his kickoffs and because of his great length and power in this kind of distance.
This is from 53 to reclaim the lead. Banta snaps it, Gardocki holds it, and Vanderjagt's kick is on the way. No!
Well, I hate to be the bringer of bad news for Jim Moore in this Colt offense, but a good snap to decent snap. Vanderjagt just comes up a little bit short. And folks, with 1:08 left, you've just given the ball back to Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Garrison Hurst, and J.J. Stokes. In case you were wondering, Peyton, that isn't a good thing.
Mariucci looks on as the 53-yarder comes up just short. And now the San Francisco 49ers, having fought back from a 21-point deficit, get the ball at their own 44, and they have 1 timeout left.
You've seen the young Peyton Manning, the new boss, come back with a couple of great completions earlier. Steve Young's got a couple of those completions in his old bag too.
J.J. Stokes wide right. The other 2 receivers are split to the left. Here's Young, quick setup, fires it out for Terrell Owens. He goes by a receiver as Poole went for the big play, and it's a gain of 12.
Well, Monty Montgomery also was part of that gamble, trying to bring him down. If you're going to play aggressive and you're going to take your spot, don't let go.
Clock showing 47 seconds left. Young, under some pressure, throws it away. That stops the clock with 43 remaining.
Reliable has not been what you would refer to as a term for the 49er kicking game over the years. At least the last 5-6 years, Steve Mariucci's 49ers have had trouble. They've played basically kicker du jour for a considerable length of time. And the current kicker right now, Ritchie, is not an extremely strong-legged kicker. His long of the year so far is 43 yards. So the Niners still a good ways away from being inside of his range.
43 seconds to go. Back split on 2nd and 10. Colts are blitzing. Young goes deep down the left sideline, and Owens is down there. Or Stokes, rather. And a flag is thrown. And Poole and Stokes got tangled, and J.J. Stokes is going to get the call.
Tyrone Poole. Remember the old thing about don't be the last guy throwing a punch? I think he was the last guy to grab.
Pass interference, 38 of the defense. First down.
Much like the pass you saw Steve Young try to throw to Terrell Owens in the end zone, just trying to aim it around his around the cornerback to the receiver. There was some contact there earlier. I got to see that again to say that was pass interference. I mean, that did not look like much.
That is the 10th penalty on Indianapolis, and it gives San Francisco a first down at the 17. Blitz again. Young chased right by Ellis Johnson. Will go out of bounds and stop the clock with 32 seconds remaining at the 14-yard line. Don't forget, 60 minutes in its entirety except in the West Coast. And the Rocky Mountain time zone, that will be coming up as soon as this one is in the history books.
And by all rights, the 49ers, this game should be over and the 49ers should have lost. Because of players that Steve Mariucci has, like Steve Young, like Jerry Rice, like Ken Norton Jr., like Tim McDonald, they won't let their team lose. Steve Young specifically won't let this offense not succeed.
Stokes and Rice to the left side. Hand off to Hurst to the 6. And the clock has 20 seconds remaining.
That's okay. They're going to get up here. They're going to spike it.
And the clock is stopped with 12 seconds left.
Good poise by Steve Young. I mentioned just a little while ago about, he won't let this offense not succeed. A good example right there in a pressure situation. The lack of stress, the lack of panic in the 49er quarterback and the 49er offense. You've been in a game where you've made bad mistakes and been badly outplayed at time by an underdog team in the Colts, and here it comes down to a situation where you're just trying to set things up for your kicker.
12 seconds to go.
You've got all Hall of Famers and all-time players out on the field trying to set up a kicker they barely know.
Young with the sneak to the 5, center of the field. And they will use their final timeout now. Well, it'll be on the right foot of Wade Ritchie. 6 seconds remaining before we see the rookie from LSU. Jim Mora brought his New Orleans Saints into this ballpark 11 times when he coached there. He won 3 times. He'd like to steal one here, but it looks bleak right now. Wade Ritchie, 1 of 2 for the day. He missed from 27. He hit from 43. He's going to have a chance to win the ball game.
Last time they were in this situation, remember Randy Kirk with the snap. Snap is critical.
Ty Detmer will hold this from straight on. 24 yards for the victory. Perfect. The 49ers once trailed by 21. Now they lead by 3.
Let's watch this snap. How Ty Detmer gets it. Perfect. Perfect hold. That's as good as you can do it under an extremely tight and pressure situation. Ritchie spent training camp and earlier this year with the Seattle Seahawks. And Steve Mariucci saw something he liked when they played those 2 preseason games against the Seahawks, obviously, because his young kicker has just driven a nail on Jim Mora's Colts. With leads of 21 in the first half, 14 in the second half, the Niners come back now to go up by 3.
50 yards in 8 plays. The 24-yard field goal gives San Francisco its first lead, and they have outscored the Colts by 17 points in the 4th quarter. Coming up tonight on CBS, we'll have 60 minutes in its entirety, except on the West Coast. That's next. Ball is picked up and taken back to the 40-yard line, but that's it. Chris Hetherington with the return, but Steve Young again today, over 300 yards passing. He threw for 2 and ran for 2.
Peyton Manning played well enough for Jim Mora to win this football game, but Steve Young would not let the 49ers lose. He would not let the 49ers make the mistakes that were killing them earlier. Great individual performance by Steve Young.
Well, there's the present and the future of the National Football League. And coming up tonight, 60 Minutes, followed by Touched by an Angel, and then the CBS Sunday movie, Emma's Wish. 60 Minutes coming next, except on the West Coast. So for Randy Cross and Michelle Tafoya, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from 3Com Park. Our final score, 34-31. 49ers win it.